Hi there. So I'm trying to learn OpenGL at the moment, and I'm also trying to learn how to use it along with LWJGL, the Java OpenGL library. And I thought it would be a good idea to upload this to YouTube and try and teach some people alongside me as I learn how to use it, so you can learn it with me if you feel so inclined. So that's what I'm going to do. And so you're going to see the things that I struggle with, and the things that maybe you'll struggle with too, or maybe you won't struggle with them and I'm just an idiot. But should be a lot nicer than trying to tackle it alone, I reckon. So, I mean, I already started about half an hour ago, but I just thought just now, like, I should probably start over again and document what I'm doing, and hopefully it'll help some other people as well. So that's what I'm going to do. But it's also going to be, I'm also going to be using this to develop an app that I'm making. So it's all going to be for a very specific purpose, but still, nonetheless, I'm sure you'll learn quite a lot from what I'm doing. So I'm going to be speaking all the time, which is very unusual for me, because I'm basically just talking to myself. And I'm going to have to talk to myself all the way through this development process, but I'm okay with that because I find developing fucking boring. So, you know, makes it more interesting, doesn't it? So here we go. So I am going to delete everything I've done so far, and you can just ignore this shit because it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay. So I'm going to assume that you're at least a tiny bit familiar with Java, and you know that there needs to be a main method. That's the entry point for the program. And I'm assuming that, well, I'm just going to assume that you're using IntelliJ IDEA because Eclipse is horrible and NetBeans is horrible. So what you need to do is, again, I'm assuming you know how to do this, but you need to set up an application configuration to run it and test this thing that's going to be running. And I'll tell you about this in a minute. So all you need to do is do plus application, choose your main class, which mine is Java side, and that's it. You might want to click single instance only, because I always end up with like running it twice and then ending up with like loads of windows open, and it gets annoying. So if you just tick that means that it'll only ever open one window. It'll ask you to quit the one that's currently open if you try and run it again. So I always have that ticked because it's, yeah, whatever. So, first step to learning OpenGL is find a tutorial. So I found this tutorial. Apparently it's quite a good tutorial. Really old, but I don't really care, because as long as I'm learning something, like as long as I've got the basis there, I'm confident I'll be more comfortable with learning the more modern stuff rather than jumping straight into the modern stuff. It's just a bit. I feel like there's probably more material out there for the older stuff, and then modern stuff will be easier once I know this. So there's this tutorial, this Neon Helium Productions tutorial, which I'm going by, this one is for C++, and I'm not actually using C++, I'm using Java, obviously. But apparently it should be very simple to actually adapt this code to Java, because all the OpenGL calls are actually just like exactly the same, regardless of the language you're using. It's just some sort of stuff about setting up the window, and things like that actually do vary, and you only have to do that like once, and then the rest is just OpenGL, so it should be fine. Hopefully. So the first thing you want to do is you want to download LWJGL Oh no, that's not it. That's some other tutorial thing. LWJGL. Right. Lightweight Java game library. This is what Minecraft uses for its OpenGL functionality. You want to go download and download the latest version, stable release, and then yeah, once you've got that, you want to copy this somewhere, wherever you want. Some guy in some other tutorial the other day copied his stuff into this folder, user local lib. So that's where I've been saving my stuff. I could save it anywhere, doesn't really matter, but save it wherever you want, copy it. I put mine in there. And then what you need to do in IntelliJ, you need to go to project structure, and you need to add it as a library so that you can use it. Press the plus button from Java, find the directory, Java. And what you need is, you need that one and that one, and I don't know why yet. I don't know why you need those two, but you need those two, so we'll find out later, I guess. Yeah, those two, you need to import those. This is something else I'm using for my project, I need to worry about that. I won't be using it in these tutorials, I don't think. If I do, I'll explain it. So, first thing we need to do, LWJGL, is you need to create a window. So everything about so LWJGL has its own window creating stuff. You don't use a J-frame or any of Java's, well, not directly anyway, at least I don't think. So they do it by one global, I think it's a singleton class. If you don't know what that is, I didn't a few months ago either. Display, create, and that will just create a window which you can render into. And this is using the singleton display, and a lot of stuff is available with this singleton. You can do all sorts of things with it, and this is basically your one display that you're going to use. I think you can only draw to one display, and by display I mean just a window, or it can be full screen, but it's just a container for drawing OpenGL content. So that's going to create a display, and if I just keep it as that, it needs to be surrounded with a try catch in case anything goes wrong. I'll just skip straight to there. So that at the moment will just create a window. Let me just check that I'm actually recording audio, because I'm a bit paranoid. Yep, I am recording audio, brilliant. So, display create. So that has just got us our window for drawing in, and it's not resizable at the moment, which is fine. And I think you can just do something, oh god. So quitting it's not going to work because we haven't set that up, so it doesn't do anything, so you've got to stop it from inside here, you've got to kill it. I didn't even do that. Set resizable, there you go. So if you do that, then you can now resize it. Brilliant. Fantastic. Still can't quit it though. Okay. So to get it quitting where we want it to, we need to do a while loop, because at the moment I'm honestly not sure what it's doing, but it's not getting to here, it's not quitting, we know that much, so it's going around in some sort of internal loop somewhere on some other thread. I don't really know what's happening, I'm probably wrong, but anyway, while display is close requested, and this is going to say, oh no, while it isn't requested. So while the display hasn't been requested to be closed, while nobody wants to close it, then we're going to do whatever we want to do. Do whatever we want to do, because we want to. And then when it is requested, it's going to exit this while loop, it's going to finish, and it's going to say, okay, a close was requested, and now we need to destroy the display. It's a bit extreme. So what will happen now is when I click close, a close is requested, and it destroys itself. And then it gets to here, and then I sort of want it to exit straight away, because I don't know if you saw them, but hung around for a few seconds. I guess it must be doing that for a reason, but I can actually just stop it from doing that. It quit straight away, so who knows. Probably shouldn't be doing this, but oh well. Live on the edge. Live on the edge. Okay. Right, next step. We need to set up OpenGL for rendering. And again, I don't know why we need to do this, but I'm just going to follow the instructions, and so are you. You're going to follow these instructions too, unless you're just watching me, which is fine. Just watch. I like that. I like that a lot. So, GL matrix mode. I don't think we need to do this stuff here. I think that's specific to whatever they're using for C++ OpenGL on Win32. We're not on Win32 and we're not on C++, so I'm just going to skip straight to here. Now, these OpenGL functions are being called from GL, OpenGL library, I think, in C++, and in Java, in LWJGL, they're being called from the very first version of, in fact, I'll show you here, GL11, and if we go to GL11, we get GL, all these things. GL matrix mode, I think, is the first one, yeah. And to make it so that we don't have to type in this GL11, like they're not doing here, we can import this statically, which will just mean that we can access everything within that without referring to it every time, without putting the dot syntax. So GL, no, it's not going to suggest it this time. Okay, let's just GL11. Right, static. That doesn't work for some reason, so you need to do that. And then it works. Brilliant. And now we can just go GL matrix mode, and we've got that available to us without having to type GL11. And GL projection, I believe, is yes. So that is selecting the projection matrix. Selecting the projection matrix. Select projection matrix. And this probably shouldn't be in the while loop. We probably don't want to do this over and over again. This is like setup, isn't it? I think. So let's put that there. Setup. Select projection matrix. Then we want to load the identity, which resets the projection matrix. Reset the projection matrix. GL load identity. Calculate the aspect ratio of the window. Now he says that. Don't worry if you don't know something about. Don't worry if you don't know what this means. Don't worry if you don't understand the stuff. I will be explaining it later in later tutorials. Just know that it has to be done if you want a nice perspective scene. And I don't know about you, but I always want a nice perspective scene. So I'm going to leave that in there. And then this one, this GLU perspective, I think it's the first characters of it specify which library it's coming from, because this isn't coming from the GL11, this is coming from something else. As I found out before, it's actually coming from GLU. GLU? And that's why we needed that, because apparently that's in that. Okay, that's fine. GLU perspective. And nice, it was nice of the LWJGL creators to make it so that we don't need to cast these numbers to GL floats, we can just use floats, I think. I believe the width and height are probably the width and height of the window. So, oh yeah, so we want to set the height of the window, and obviously that's to do with the display that we're creating, right? So these are also this is also configurable from the display. So we want to set a new display mode. We want the width to be, I don't know, I'm just going to set it to my laptop resolution because it's a nice resolution. But then it wants us to use the width and height here, so I'm thinking maybe we should just do this. Oops. Yes. Brilliant. I don't think they need to be final. Well, they don't really need to be static either, but I want them to be. So, fuck off. 45 F. I just swore, by the way. I'm fucking cool as fuck. 45. 45, don't know why that's 45, it's just 45. Width, height. Anything else? 0.1 F, 100 F. 100 F? Oh no, 100.0 F. Something's wrong. Ah, what? Ah. Width divided by height. And I think it wants a float result here, and if we want a float result for this expression, we have to cast one of these integers to a float, or it'll just do an integer calculation and it'll round it down. So we want to cast one of them to a float, and then it'll give us a float answer from the expression. So that's what we want, I think. So, why am I so far down the page? And then we want to set the model view matrix. Select the model view matrix, apparently. So we need to do a GL matrix mode, set the matrix mode to GL model view. And I don't know if you're understanding what's going on with these capital letter constants. And what these are, they're, well, I'm going to struggle to explain this, but I'll give you an example. So, say we have a function here that's just like do stuff, and we want the stuff to do different things. We want to do different things within the same function for some reason, instead of having it separate functions. I don't know why, but that's what we want to do. So to do that, we would have to pass in different constants to do these different things. So we'd have to go like, if constant equals this, something, whatever, then we want to do this, else if it equals constant equals something else, we want to do this. So I guess this could be do various things depending on argument. Right, so that's basically what this is. GL matrix mode is saying I'm going to set the matrix mode depending on the argument, and the argument, because they want to let you choose from a number of things, the best way to do that is to either have a constants or an enum. So we could create some constants. We could create one that was just public static final shake my bum, and it could be an integer equals 1, and then we could have another one, drink Coke equals 2. So now these words are associated with a number, and the good thing about this is that we don't need to remember the number, we just need to remember shake my bum and drink Coke. We don't need to go, oh, 1, wait, what's 1 again? Oh, I've forgotten. You can just do, I want it to shake my bum, and it'll do it. But then what you can do is just do if the argument equals shake my bum. Obviously we have the argument there. So that's how it's working. I don't know if that makes sense. And then the other way of doing that is having an enum things to do, and then we can name them in there, and that will automatically give them a number. And we don't need to know the number; it's irrelevant because it'll give them unique numbers. because that's what enums do, I think. There's going to be a lot of I thinks in this tutorial. I don't claim to know a lot. I don't know a lot. But hopefully, you know, if you're a lonely person and, you know, you're trying to learn something and it's a bit boring on your own, I can do it with you. Do it with you, regardless of whether I'm completely incompetent or not. So there. So, coming back from that very informative tangent. So that's what that is. So this function is doing different things depending on the argument that we give it, and this argument is a constant that they have set up inside. There we go. Inside GL11. Look at all these constants. They really name all of these? Like, did they really number all of these themselves? If they did, it's pretty cool. Couldn't be asked, though. So there's that. And then we need to do a GL load identity again. And that is to reset the model view matrix. So this selects the model view matrix. And this resets the model view matrix. So this selected the projection matrix and resetted it. Whoops. Oh, didn't do anything. And this selects the model view matrix and resets that. And again, I don't know what the model view matrix is, and I don't know what the projection matrix is, but we'll get there eventually. Okay. Okay. Next up, it wants us to put this in an init.gl function. And I would only put this in a function in my current state of expertise if it was doing something I was going to call more than once with different arguments. In fact, no. Something I was just going to call more than once. And I'm not. It's going to be a one-time thing to initialize it. No reason at this current state in time to have it as a separate function. And basically that's just because I'm lazy. So, I wonder if I can I do that? That's cool. So this is initting everything. I can actually go to that, can't I? No? I don't know. Okay. So that is the initialization done. Shall we just see if this still works or whether it breaks? It works. Okay. Brilliant. Now we need to do this. This next line enables smooth shading. Smooth shading blends colours nicely across a polygon and smooths out lighting. I'll explain it later. Okay. And again, I'm guessing that this is still set up stuff. So I'm going to put that there. Enable smooth shading. And now we're going to set the clear colour, and I think I know what that is. I think it's pretty obvious. And basically every time that you update the screen, you need to clear the screen first, or you're just going to be drawing over what's already there. And that's alright as long as all your pixels are opaque. But if you have some that are transparent, translucent, then you're going to end up with problems because you'll be seeing the previous frame and you'll end up with some sort of like blurring stuff going on. So you need to clear the screen, and this sets the colour that you'll clear the screen from. And if you're sort of rendering full screen stuff, then I don't see why it really matters what colour you're clearing it to. Well, actually, again, it goes back to if you're drawing anything that is possibly not opaque, then it's going to matter. So I think you'd probably want to set it to black. That's what that is. Although it's got a 0 alpha value, and I thought that meant it was transparent, so I don't understand that. But that is setting the colour that is going to clear the screen to, so set the clear colour, that's what that does. And then we want to clear the depth, apparently. enable depth testing and set the type of depth test we want to do. So the depth buffer is used to make sure that things are drawn in the right order, things that are supposed to be on top of each other are drawn in the right order. It doesn't give us much more information about it right now, but I sort of get the gist of it. So we'll do that. GL clear depth, double depth 1.0. Oh, that's not a double, that's a float. Oh. GL enable GL depth test. And then GL depth func. I don't know what half this stuff does. Oh, we'll find out eventually. Should probably write the comments down. So, what's that again? Depth buffer setup. Enable depth testing. And this is the type of depth testing to do. Next, we tell OpenGL we want the best perspective correction to be done. This causes a very tiny performance hit, but makes the perspective view look a bit better. Okie doke. Gonna give you a hint. Nicest of hints. Do the nice perspective correction. Okay. Finally, we want to return true. Well, we don't, because we didn't make it a function. Because I am lazy. The return true tells our program that there were no problems. Here's where we do all the drawing. Okay. Clear the screen and the depth. So we're going to do our drawing in this while loop here. Oh my. This while loop here, because this is what's going on while the screen isn't closed. And LWJGL actually gives us a nice convenience method for updating the screen every 60 frames. Every frame 60 frames a second. And that is display sync 60. And what that will do is it will sleep for the right amount of time to make sure that it's running this every 60 times a second. So that's what that's going to do. So that just stops us from having to do like, what's the time now? What's the time at the end? What's the difference between that time? How much time have we taken to render? How much time until the next frame, and then sleep until that? This does that all for us somehow, and it doesn't matter how, because we just need to know that it works, and it does. So every time we draw, we want to do a GL clear. So this is going to run 60 frames a second. GL color buffer bit and GL depth buffer bit. It should be noted that that's not actually an and, that's an or. But remember, again, you might already understand this, but for those who don't, remember how we had our constants. So, say you wanted to do two of the things, you can actually give it two constants, and as long as these are different, mutually exclusive binary numbers, in other words, as long as one of these is 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, and the other one is in binary, then if you OR those two together, this is a logical OR. You might know about this sort of stuff if you've done electronics or programming. Oh, this is very So what will happen is it'll all that together, and that means that the ones in both of those will be combined. So whenever there's a 1 in either of them, the output will contain a 1 in that place. So as long as these are unique numbers, we can tell exactly which ones are have been enabled, because each of these 1s will coincide with a different constant, as long as they're multiples of or powers of 2, as long as they go 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, because that's what defines a mutually exclusive binary number. And hopefully my terminology isn't retarded right now and you're actually understanding what I mean. So that's what that's doing. So these are 2 separate constants, and by ORing them together, this is the OR operator, logical OR operator, not logical, sorry, binary OR. Sorry, I said logical before. I failed you. Okay, so that'll do both of those things. So it's going to clear the color buffer and the depth buffer. Buffer. That's going to clear the screen, basically. That's all we know at the moment. Okay, so we're not going to draw anything yet. I was just reading this bit. The return true tells everyone rolls. Yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. Okay. Draw. Load identity. We want to reset the current model view matrix. So we need to do that here as well. Load identity. We'll know what that does soon because we've been doing it. We've done it 3 times so far, so it must be pretty important. We don't need to return true because you didn't do a function, because it's not going to be called from any other place at the moment. We can easily put it in a function if it's going to, so it doesn't really matter that much. Don't need to kill the window, I don't think, because well, we'll worry about that later. LWJGL is doing that for us. This is again GL, whatever they're using, C++ specific stuff. Yeah, that's it. I think this is as well. Try to delete the rendering context. Okay. Doesn't look like OpenGL stuff to me. Does not look like OpenGL stuff. Where's the GL code? Fuck me, what is this shit? Okay, maybe some of this stuff's important, I don't know. You said we weren't going to draw anything in this tutorial, so... This is where we got to anyway. The next section of code is called Just Before the Program Quits. The job of KillGL window is to release the rendering context, the device context, and finally the window handle. I think display destroy does all that for us. I don't know though. Probably doesn't. Probably wrong. Okay, probably kill the window. The first thing we do in kill the window, we will use changes to return to our original desktop. The code below check to see if we have a rendering context. Next we have to delete the rendering context. If we're unable to delete the rendering context, now we check to see if there's a window handle. We destroy the window, we've already done that. The last thing to do is unregister our window class. This allows us to properly kill the window. Doing that, we've done that. Next section of our code creates our OpenGL window. Create GL window. Let's see. Okay. So I think that's what we're doing here. When we do the display set display mode, display no, that's not it. New display mode, can we also set other things? No, it's just the width and height. What else can we set? Create. So what we're doing, when we create it, when we actually open the window, we have the option of actually, how do I get autocomplete up? Autocomplete IntelliJ shortcut. Shift space. So we have the option of either just not submitting any parameters, and that'll just give us our default settings, I think, or we can supply a pixel format, and we can give that the alpha, the depth, and the stencil, and a load of other stuff as well. I don't know what it is, but I think that's what it's talking about here when he's saying this takes 5 parameters: title of the window, width of the window, height of the window. Okay, it's not quite it, is it? I feel like we shouldn't need to do this stuff. We are going to create our window. We've created our window. And I know this is the problem with following a tutorial for C++, but this is the first one I found, and according to some what's this one? I don't like this one. Don't know why. Decided I don't like this one. It doesn't look very nice. It looks horrible. What is this? So this is what I had open earlier. And this is a guy that's adapted the tutorials for Java, but he hasn't actually done the tutorials, he's just done the source code. Which isn't that helpful, because I don't know how it compares. I don't know which parts are which. But here all he's done is create the window while close requested. Close requested. How's he getting that? Close requested. Where is that? Oh, okay. Alright. So in his cleanup, all he's done is display destroy. So we don't need to do any of the other stuff that was in the other tutorial. He set vsync to true, he set the title of the window, he's created it, he set the display mode to 64480, it's just a resolution. And if somebody presses it, so he said if somebody presses escape, it'll quit. So that's all he's done for the first tutorial. He hasn't done any rendering or anything, so I'm guessing that we don't need to either. That's fine. So shall we just do the bit about if somebody presses escape, it'll quit. That's pretty simple, isn't it? So while is display close requested, if keyboard while keyboard has next keyboard get event character. Get event character. Oh wait, no, because if keyboard get event key equals keyboard escape. There we go. Then we want to break. Oh no, that'll just break from. See, this is what I hate about Java. Or just, I want to break out of the whole thing, but this will just break me out of this while loop. So how do I go about doing this? Should break. Should break equals true. If should break, break. If there's a better way of doing that, let me know. I'm not that smart. So that'll just, if somebody presses escape. So again, just like the display, the keyboard is just like a static singleton object, because you're only really ever going to have one keyboard, unless you're a crazy person that has 5 keyboards attached to their computer. But even then, they're all going to go into the same. They're all going to go into the same event stream. If you had 2 keyboards, you'd just be typing in the same area. You wouldn't be typing in different applications or anything. So there's one global keyboard, and next is just a boolean that returns whether there's any keys waiting in the event queue that have been pressed. You can actually check if a key is down at this very exact moment in time, but you risk missing a key press, like, because it's not going to be queued. The key's not going to be queued, so it has to be pressed at that exact moment when that function executes, and you not incredibly likely, but it's possible to miss the key press. So you don't want to do it that way. You just want to use the event queue, the keyboard event queue, and this will get the next key. I assume we'll get the next key in the event queue. So what I could actually do is print out the keyboard get event character, and that will actually print out all of the keys that we're pressing. So if I press them, no, doesn't work, that doesn't work. Neither does escape. So, why does that not work? Is there anything else we need to set up? We are actually executing this loop, aren't we? Pop. I don't need to keep building this every time before I do. Right, yeah, so it is actually. So this is the part that isn't executing, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, okay. So keyboard next is return. Oh wait, I didn't actually press any keys. Lol. Yeah, okay, so keys aren't having any effect. So maybe I need to opt in for keyboard events or something? Create. Keyboard create. Maybe. Create the keyboard. Nope. Didn't do anything either. Keyboard. Enable repeat events. True. Maybe. Maybe. No. Of course not. Get event key state. Get event nanoseconds. Get key count. Get key count. Maybe that's what it is. Keyboard. Get key count. Key state. Key count is greater than 0. Too much output to process. Right. It'd be nice if I saw some of the output. So, what? Get key count. Maybe that's talking about how many keys there actually are on the keyboard. Oh, I should probably look at the documentation. Wait, what's he done? What's he done? While keyboard next. Poll input. While keyboard next. Has he set up the keyboard? No. While keyboard next. While keyboard next. Next. Hello. No. What am I doing wrong? Poll input. Update logic. Render GL. Display update. Maybe I need to update the display. Display sync. Or is that the same thing? Display sync. Display update. Display sync. So maybe we need to update the display. Maybe that's what it is. It's not updating. Hey, decent. So now we need to do okay. If keyboard get event key state, I think keyboard get event key state. I don't know what that does either. I just can't be asked looking at the documentation. If you can, go ahead. Escape. Woo! So that works. So can I actually print out keyboard get event character? A, B, C, D, E, F. Cool. Now, would that work without this? What happens without that? E. Okay. So I get duplicates. Right. So I guess one of the event keys, one of the events is equals keyboard up, key up. Ah, okay. Maybe not. Get event key. I don't know. Forget it. Forget that. But basically, that works. And again, I don't know how to get out of this unless I was to put that in a separate function, but it just seems stupid. It's the only Okay. Okay, next lesson. Your first polygon. In fact, it'll be a good time to end this absolute car crash of a tutorial. Hopefully you learned something. I didn't learn too much, I learnt a little bit. Hopefully you did too. Join me in my next tutorial where we will learn how to create Babby's first polygon. See you then.